Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Right. I'm Egberto Willis, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you as usual. How is everybody doing? Is everybody ready for the show tonight? That's what it's going to be, a show. Are we ready for the debate tonight? I am. Actually, I'm going to be on air at KPFT at starting at 8 o'clock. And of course, we're going to be online as well. So, it's going to be quite interesting what we got, but we are going to be on air with the show as well. So anyway, folks, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. So be prepared. We'll get to see what things really look like. Anyway, how's everybody doing today? Welcome aboard. Seems like our chat is already full. We got Bridge MCP says, "Hey peeps, got my wine and my cheese." Got you, Bridge, out of Binghamton, New York. We got Lee Grant, who just joined us in the house. He is out of Montgomery County. Eric Hayes is in the house from Atascocita, Kingwood. Of course, our great Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain, and AVQ from Brooklyn, New York. Great to see you here, my dear brother from Brooklyn, New York. I don't see Yvette Avery Herod not out of Puerto Rico yet. Maybe she's still having fun going out to the different venues out there. I told her she needed to make sure to go to eat some bacalao, but she doesn't eat fried foods anymore. But anyhow, we're going to go ahead and get things started here. How's everybody doing? The phone number is, and I can't remember all these different phone numbers, 281-823-7747 if anybody wants to call in. Again, that number is 281-823-7747 for anybody who wants to call in. Melanie Keelan says, "Is there an Ask Egberto this weekend?" Of course, there is an Ask Egberto this weekend. But you know what happened to me? It's not this weekend, right? It is actually the weekend of the it's a weekend of the 6th, right? Am I losing my mind? Did I mess up at all? Because today is June 27th. This weekend is June 29th. Our Ask Egberto Anything is the weekend of the 6th. I was about to get a little concerned there, It's like, wait a minute. Did I miss something? But, thank you for kind of reminding me anyway, Melanie Keelan. All right, Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Georgia. I remembered it, Paul. I remembered that you're from Powder Spring, Georgia. All right, so let's see what we got here. Let's go ahead and start reading. From Michael Rudden, he says, "The Hill. Representative Matt Rosendale, Republican Montana, has hung posters outside his office in opposition to in vitro fertilization, IVF. His latest public statement against the procedure most Republicans have rushed to express their support for. If you believe that life begins at conception as I do, there is no difference between an abortion and the destruction of an IVF embryo," says one poster, quoting Rosendale. And I happen to agree with him. I agree wholeheartedly. You can't have it both ways. If you believe life begins at conception, he is correct. If you believe a fertilized egg is a life, then you can't argue with what the brother's saying. I just don't believe that's the case. And that's why I believe in a woman's right to choose. Right? But you know how these extremists are. Michael Rudden also says, from Raw Story, "What an insult. Republicans raked over the coals for proclaiming IVF destroys life." Rosendale's social media account was swarmed with angry comments, including from people who required IVF to have children and have the procedure to thank for being able to grow their families. Again, like I mentioned several times, folks, Republican orthodoxy, the current Republican orthodoxy, has laid the pathway for a landslide Democratic victory in all venues, meaning in federal elections, meaning in state elections, meaning in county elections. I mean, they're doing every form of barbarism possible. And if we don't monopolize on this by not playing the centrist, the centrist ridiculous stance, but by going all out populist, people want IVF, people want support for parents, people want taxation on corporations, people want all these issues. Don't let the Republican orthodoxy make the waters murky. They have already laid the pathway for us to have a landslide. If we don't get a landslide, it is our doing, but you have to come to a landslide with a passion, with a fight, saying, this is what we stand for. This is what we're going to do. Not half-ass in the way we do things. We have to be powerful, strong, assertive, and point out that these guys are not only fascists, but they want to control every aspect of your life. 10 commandments in the school? Hey, that's easily debunked, right? We don't want IVF? Oh, that's easily debunked. Making the trans stuff a big issue when we know that the most dangerous place for kids to be from being sexually abused is not from a trans in a bathroom, but from a pastor in a church. If you want to know where your child is in most danger for sexual abuse, don't go to the trans. Don't be concerned of the bathroom at your school. Don't be concerned about who is entering that bathroom or not. Because where they go to church, those are the folks that you need to be worried about. That's not me saying. That's what the numbers prove. So as I'm saying, folks, there should be absolutely no doubt that the pathway for a democratic landslide has been laid by the Republican Party. And we can pick up a hell of a lot of Republican voters just from them wanting something very important: freedom, liberty, and government out of your personal lives. Because the only ones who really want government in your personal lives are Republicans. You doubt it? They want to tell you what books you can and cannot read. They want to tell a woman what she can and cannot do with her body. They want to tell you what you are going to learn in school. They want to tell companies that if they decide that they want to be inclusive, if they want to have DEI in their companies, then forget it. You're not getting any support from us. They want to tell companies what they can and cannot do. Diversity, equity, and inclusion be damned. Look, man. Hey, Democratic brothers and sisters, individuals, influencers, all of you, the path is ours. You either take it or you sit down and you hang up timidly and you're scared to confront it head on. When they talk about trends, you talk about the pastor in church. When they talk about the immigrants, you talk about the whole housing situation around the entire country. When they talk about the people coming over the border, you talk about the rotten peaches on the fields and the inflation for produce in the stores. You define what the argument is going to be. You define what the narrative is. One of the problems that Democrats have is that they don't define the narrative. They play from a position of defense, even though they have the right to be on offense. And when we decide that we will be on offense because we have worked towards that which is good for our people. And when I say our people, I'm talking about all Americans. When we assert our worth, assert what we do, then things will start going our way. Carl Cox, welcome to Politics Done Right from Georgia. Not the sports fan I used to be. However, how about the Florida Panthers winning the 2024 Stanley Cup? The greatest trophy in all respects, but they almost lost it, right? They were up by 3, and then, whoops, the other team came back, but they did it. They fought, and they did it. Congratulations to Florida. Proud of you guys winning the cup. All right, Alisarin Dreams. Hello to you, my dear, beautiful lady. How are you doing today? Welcome aboard to Politics Done Right. Bridge MCP says, I hope to mute the mic if he starts to ramble and says lies or hateful. Yeah, it's going to be muted, but the one thing people haven't spoken about is that they're close enough that he can disrupt Biden's thinking. So what I hope when Biden was practicing is that he practiced saying his piece irrespective of hearing some crazy stuff in his right ear. Right? In other words, don't worry about the noise coming from Donald Trump. Just keep talking. Paul Fleming says, ex-Fox News star Ed Henry accused of sexual harassment and grooming behavior at Real American's Voice. And you know what? It wouldn't be the first time. He already got in trouble. Ed Henry got in trouble in Vegas a few years ago. I guess he continues. I haven't read your story, but I imagine it's a new story. But it's always the folks from, well, anyway. All right, Paul Fleming said to Eric Hayes, Paul Fleming, Dana husband, one of the 50 that signed the letter saying Hunter laptop not real. Who cares about Hunter laptop? I don't care about Hunter's laptop. America doesn't care about Hunter laptop. Hunter is not running for president. Hunter is running for nothing. What's your obsession? It is like you guys are savants. Right? Okay. Para ver. Bruce is in the house. Hello, Bruce. How you doing, my brother? Bruce, I am going to be staging my my Netroot setup in about 3 or 4 days, and we're going to do a program from my staging of the Netroot setup, and I'll let you know when. Let's talk about it. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Our youngest is trans. Alzarian, well, you tell if your youngest ever wants to do a very civil and educational interview. I don't know how young your son is, okay? But I would love to interview your youngest is. I don't know if you meant daughter or son. But I interviewed the first Arizona trans congressperson at Netroots in Phoenix a few years ago. And I learned a lot. All right, Lee Grant says, what's wrong with 10 Commandments in the schools? It's on the Supreme Court building. What's wrong with the 10 Commandments in school? There's nothing wrong with the 10 Commandments in school, but to mandate that it has to be there. Suppose a Muslim student says, I want to mandate that these pages of the Quran be also there. You see the can of worms that it opens. Michael Rodden says a single extreme weather event isn't climate change. A pattern of extreme weather events with a trend towards higher temperature, that is climate change, which is exactly what we're having. And earlier today, I was going to do a story about prosecuting the fossil fuel industry, because they single-handedly made sure that the truth about climate change didn't come out. And when you have a Reagan, remember, we had Carter with solar panels on the roof of the White House in 1979. 1979. How many years ago that was? That is 21 plus 24, 46 years ago. Imagine if we had gone through the syn fuels program where the syn fuel was actually regenerative type fuels. Imagine if we had solarized and the place, every rooftop became a power generation station. There is so much we could have a national initiative to have done to mitigate the billions of tons of carbons we've thrown into the atmosphere and the oceans. But because of the misinformation, because of the lies, because of what they've done, they have murdered millions of people. Well, I can't say millions, hundreds of thousands of people over the years. We probably have to say millions if we take into account all of the hurricanes that have killed thousands in places we don't know, right? All right, I see. Let me scroll all the way down because it looks like Bridge has something that she wants for the screen. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Let's go here and get it onto the screen. I think my screen is blinking. Let's see how it does it here. All right, here we go, Bridge. I think I got it on the screen for you. It says, Trump supporters demand to know if Navajo congressman is here illegally. Let that sink in for a moment. Get out of the country, Navajo lawmaker harassed by Arizona Trump supporters. It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing. Yes, let that sink in. I'm gonna put it on a different channel to stop that there. Okay, that is stopping for a while, but I can't use that channel all of the times. So if that is not sick, I don't know what is. Navajo, as in the original people of this country. Amazing. Amazing. Billy Allison Irwin is in the house. Welcome, Billy. How are you doing? Maybe I can get a call from you today, 281-823-7747. Let's see what else we got here. Michael Rudden says, replying to Bridge, holy SHIT, that's real, Snopes. In January 2018, reports surfaced that supporters of Donald Trump confronted a Native American legislature during an anti-immigration protest at the Arizona state capitol, demanding to know whether he was in the country legally. The viral stories on various websites, including The Hill and the liberal rawstory.com, were all original reporting of Arizona Capitol Times, a nonpartisan weekly newspaper focused on Arizona government and state politics. We confirmed that one of the anti-immigrant protesters did indeed ask an indigenous state representative whether or not he was legal, both through video footage of the incident and 3 corroborating interviews with Arizona state legislature who witnessed the scene. In the background of the following video, a protester asked Representative Eric Descheny whether he is legal. Descheny is Navajo. Sometimes I try not to use words like stupid and idiot and all of that because it stunts the conversation. But my God, how difficult it is to, well, let's move on. All right, now it's the numbers for Israel. Right-wing, let's see, before that, dates 265. There are 37,765 Palestinians killed, 334 persons more than day 259. At least 86,429 wounded, 977 persons more than day 259, which is a total casualty of 124,194 casualties. That means if this were equivalent to the relative amount of people in America, it would be equivalent to, you didn't have that one today. Anyway, if you put that number up today, later on, E2247, I will read it. All right, continuing with what you guys had to say, Bloomberg. Or actually, I think I had one from Paul Fleming that says a West Virginia couple is facing charges of human trafficking, child neglect, forced labor, and more after prosecutors alleged they adopted 5 black children from a shelter to do forced labor and live in deplorable conditions. Wow. I didn't hear that one. According to Roland Martins, the following black media outlets requested credentials to tonight's debate and have been denied. Ebony, Black Enterprise, Atlanta Black Star, Atlanta Voice, The Shade Room, and NPA. What gives, CNN? That's like very interesting for real. What gives, CNN? I don't know why you would do that. All right. Paul Fleming says right-wing pastor Jack Hibbs say that by putting the 10 Commandments in public school classrooms, teachers are not going to be raping kids anymore. Well, it obviously worked in churches. Now, that is funny, Paul. That is funny because, like I said, the most dangerous place for students to be sexually molested is in church. It's amazing, but it's a statement of fact. Let's see what else we got here. Paul Fleming says Texas is already the U.S. epicenter of extreme weather with storms, fires, and floods, racking up billions in damage. It's going to get worse. Yes, it is. Egberto and Bridge, a central conceit of liberalism we inherited from the Enlightenment on which U.S. founders depended, is the idea that with time and education, with science and reason, all persons must eventually climb up a ladder of civilization all the way to liberalism. But persons in the PDR posse, not influenced by reasons, pretty much destroy that conceit of liberalism. And so we must withdraw from them our attention and work instead to mobilize persons who will act to better our society. And let me just answer that in this respect, E2247. The thing is, we don't know which ones are misinformed, but willing to change after being informed. And because I can't read somebody's mind, I have to put out a large net. Now, you may say, well, look at the people in the PDR posse that continuously spew ridiculous right-wing crap, right? You can say, should we not just throw them out because they are really mathematically incorrect, socially incorrect? No, because there are others out there who think that way. And I repeat this ad nauseum. There are others who think that way. And by us challenging them with ethical, moral, mathematical responses, while it might not help them, the thousands that will listen to our podcasts and otherwise, they will, the ones who seeds can be planted, sprout, and grow, they will be there. And I'm not asking this is that possible? When I wrote my book, here's my book. It's worth it. How to talk to your right-wing relative friends and neighbors. It wasn't about winning the winning everybody over. It was about winning those who can come over to sanity. It's about winning those. And those who want to be left behind, so be it. Stay behind in one stupor. That's fine. It doesn't stop me from, hanging with you. It doesn't stop me from talking to you, because no matter what, they're a part of the fabric, right? They are part of the fabric of America. I mean, if let's say I were to castigate all those who have these thoughts. Do you know how many people I have? Do you know how many friends I have that just because of my hue, even though they won't talk to me or say it, they think less of me? Well, I'm going to Netroots Nation in 2 weeks. I am the progressive interviewer there that has interviewed for the last several years more than any other progressive newscast on Radio Row. That's a statement of fact. And still, don't you think I would always have first dibs at whatever they're given the performance and the work that I put in? No. Why? Because of historical reason, one isn't taken as seriously as others. But here's the kicker. I could let that affect me and just throw my hands up and go do something else, forget about that. Or I can chuck down and move on. And the same is how I feel about PDR posse. I can let the few that are constantly trying to malign or constantly trying to infect, change our modus operandi, or we can push forward. And again, everybody here doesn't have to do that. When some of you get tired of listening to the crap and the misinformation, you check out for a little while, you get your sanity back, and then you come back, right? In my case, I never lose my sanity, man. For me, it's like thick skin, right? So I just want to make that, tell you that, brother E2247. So look, I get you. I read you. I understand you. Bruce says, maybe we should not proclaim church abuse as number one. It is a contributor, but family members and peers are also in the numbers. Check NCMB. Oh, actually, what I wanted to claim is not, the reason I said church, I'm talking about organized institutions. But I will go ahead and read the extract, which is, I think church is the number one organization that where these things, meaning church or church related. And I'm talking about organized, places of organization, not somebody living with your cousin. Again, we know that proximity is the biggest precursor to that, but teachers have proximity too, and they don't qualify in that regard, right? You can correct me if there's something that I missed there. You have the article, Bruce. All right, let's see. Lee Grant says we're a secular nation with a Western culture. Christianity is a pillar of Western culture. Rather than Christianity brought and sold you 1,000 years ago, regardless of your current belief. Actually, again, we have to be careful of the history that we learn. Western civilization cannot be attributed to Christianity. Western culture cannot be thought of as European or white culture. It isn't. Western culture has always been the amalgamate, the combination of everything. Let's just see. One of the most lethal part of Western culture is war, and who helped with that? The Chinese, with the invention of, I think it's gunpowder. We can look at how all these different societies, these different cultures intermingle to create what we call Western culture. So be careful of that. Don't believe everything that you read. It's important that you have a context and narrative. Michael Ryan says, Lee, what the heck did you say at the end there? You're gonna have I don't know what he's saying. I have no idea what he's saying there. I really don't know what he's saying. But anyway, Bowie, give us a call on the actual number 281-823-7747. 281-823-7747. Can't do two at the same time. Let's see what else we got here. I don't see her in the house, though. I just see that call, but don't see the house. All right, let's see what else we got. Bridge MCP says, Lee Grant, we have separation of church and state. We are not a Christian nation. We are a nation that allows you to be Christian or whatever you want. And what's so fun is not even the founders. Most of the founders weren't Christians, and they wanted to have in fact, many of them were atheists as well. Amazing, isn't it? How we change history. Michael Radin says, anyone have a clue what Lee meant when he said Christianity bought and sold you 100 years ago? I think he meant me. I don't think he meant you, Radin. I think he assumed that you were black. Mr. Radin is a white guy. I don't think we had the selling and buying and selling of white people in America, though we did have indentured servitude, which is just a indentured servitude is just a step above that, of course, yeah. And by the way, we got the Bacon's Rebellion when the white indentured servants and the slaves got together to say, we're going to kick their butts because we understand that this economic system doesn't work for us, And that is, from that time, that is how the massa learned that we were not going to let black and white people come together. Because if they come together, they will see the fraud that our economic system is. And then, of course, when slavery got abolished and they created the the corporation was there, but the corporation and employment took a bigger foothold. Suddenly, the divide that they create got sort of, well, you understand what I'm saying. Let's say Michael said, Berto, I think you are probably smarter than me, and that your hue meant you had to work more than twice as hard than I have in my life. Absolutely so. And it's funny because Bill Maher, who somehow, I don't know, I think he got his brain fried as he grew up. When the God, what's his name, Charlemagne the God, went on his show, Bill Maher wanted Charlemagne the God to say, well, because a recently, I don't remember which artist said, or which, it's an artist or somebody. Biden went to Morehouse, and Biden said to the college, I understand you have to work twice as hard to get half as good, or something like that, Biden said. And of course, Bill Maher took exception to that. And Bill Maher said, you don't believe that, right, Charlemagne the God? And Charlemagne said, oh, no, I do. But it may not be 10 times as hard anymore, but it may be 5 times as hard. And Bill said, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. When he talks about elitism of the left, he's partially correct that many on the left are elitists. But his level of elitism goes beyond everybody else. He's not to the left. I don't know where the hell Bill Maher is these days. But if he doesn't think that your hue, who you are, make a difference, I wanted to get his address to send him my book, Tribulations of an Afro-Latino Caribbean Man. Racism didn't stop my smile, hope, or journey forward. Let me put a book on the screen. I wanted to send him a copy of my book. And let me tell you why. By the way, go to politicsandright.com/books to get this. Because I tell the story. It's easy to read. It's a real story about what I went through. And it's what I wrote in here, that I wrote the book for 2 audiences, right? And I want to say what I said. I wrote this book for 2 audiences. I hope that the words I chose were sufficiently tactful for all to feel compelled not just to read, but to empathize. It is short and concise enough to read over more than once, to get some of what is inferred but purposely not said, directly to prevent that automatic objective thought process shutdown. I want everybody to remain objective. The first audience is people of color. We suffer day in and day out from indignities, sometimes overtly, but most of the time behind the scenes, covertly. We can address the overt immediately. The covert can be inferred and require analysis to show correlation. If you are called by an epithet, or if you are dressed comparably at a restaurant and singled out, those are overt. If your interest rate is high, or you don't get a job you are qualified for, that is covert and requires correlation to ascertain. Irrespective of who I encounter, I am always courteous with a smile. I go out of my way often not to let the negative vibes of those who are observably racist or xenophobic to change my demeanor. Often that stance is enough for that person to change their behavior and ingratiate themselves to me, often clearly embarrassed and sometimes apologetic. I am sufficiently, let's see, all right, okay. This is Politics Done Right. May I help you? Are you willing? Do you like to say something? Hello? I guess it wasn't a real call per se. So let's go ahead and go to another. Continuing with what I was reading. Often that stance is enough for that person to change their behavior or ingratiate themselves with me. I am sufficiently confident that humility and the disregard of negativity allow me to exist outside of what is frustrating and somewhat dehumanizing to many. And in doing so, I take command of the interaction as I steer it to a more positive interaction. The second audience is for those who never have to think about their race. In other words, my white audience. I hope you choose to see America, the world, through my eyes and stories if for the duration of this read, irrespective of race, religion, ideology, language, sexuality, gender, etc., we are all Americans. Most importantly, we were and are all indispensable to the fabric of this nation. So whether it's Lee Grant, Billy Allison Irwin, E2247, Bridge MCP, Carl Cox, Brother Paul Fleming, Michael Rudnin, we are all in this game together. Unfortunately, for a large part of the population, POCs and other identities remain silent when confronted by the ignorance or willful ignorance of others, the former understandable and forgivable. In that light, I will end the book with a few questions to ponder. And I put out a whole lot of questions there. So I'm going to play a piece, one of the videos that we have for today, and then we'll come right back. Well, at last, a very high-profiled Republican, specifically Adam Kinzinger, who appeared on the January 6th committee that investigated the treason, the insurrection by many, including the former president of the United States. He was on the investigative committee, and he is one Republican that cares more about country than party. I disagree vehemently with Kinzinger. I agree vehemently with Liz Cheney. But these are two politicians we can genuinely say, in as much as we have ideological differences, these are two solid Americans who put America first. Now, Liz Cheney hasn't come out and said she's going to vote against Donald Trump, meaning, in other words, voting for Joe Biden. But Kinzinger went all out, and he was complete. He was not kind to Donald Trump. Listen to his endorsement video that he made for Joe Biden. This is, this guy has really put himself out there.
I'm Adam Kinzinger, and I'm a proud conservative. I always have been. As a proud conservative, I've always put democracy and our Constitution above all else. And it's because of my unwavering support for democracy that today, as a proud conservative, I'm endorsing Joe Biden for re-election. My entire life has been guided by the conviction that America is a beacon of freedom, liberty, and democracy. So while I certainly don't agree with President Biden on everything, and I never thought I'd be endorsing a Democrat for president, I know that he will always protect the very thing that makes America the best country in the world, our democracy. Donald Trump poses a direct threat to every fundamental American value. He doesn't care about our country. He doesn't care about you. He only cares about himself, and he'll hurt anyone or anything in pursuit of power. We saw that when he tried to overturn an election that he knew he lost in 2020. He attacked the foundation of this nation, encouraging a violent mob of his supporters to march on the Capitol to prevent the peaceful transition of power. Now he's become even more dangerous. He's called for termination of the Constitution. He wants to be a dictator on day one. He actually said that. And he's continuing to stoke the flames of political violence. There's too much at stake to sit on the sidelines. So to every American of every political party and those of none, I say now is not the time to watch quietly as Donald Trump threatens the future of America. Now's the time to unite behind Joe Biden and show Donald Trump off the stage once and for all.
Now, we need a lot more sensible Republicans to do the right thing. Yes, they have ideological differences with Joe Biden. Hell, I have ideological differences with Joe Biden. As far as I'm concerned, Joe Biden is much too moderate for me. But again, we understand that it's about country first. And at this point in our history, that is what we have right now. And taking off my host hat, that is the person that I think is the is the one right now to prevent the country from jumping into a fascist state, from putting all of us at mortal danger for a whole lot of things. So, Kinzinger, you did the right thing. absolutely did the right thing, folks. He absolutely did the right thing, and I commend him. I'm waiting to see what Liz Cheney is going to do, because, like I said, I think it's important that Liz Cheney as well come out and support Biden. I had a call, and I am going to. I think I need to. Now that I'm thinking about it, I need to chop it up from one of my callers this morning who said he couldn't vote for Biden. He's a strong progressive, and I went ahead and I gave a little spiel that I think I need to do again. But anyhow, continuing with the program, thank you guys for hanging around even after our short stint here where we got off here. Melissa Bowie, how are you doing, beautiful? I'm expecting your call at 281-823-7747. Bree just calling in. Good. Hey, Breach, how you doing, beautiful?
Hey, how you doing? I know everything
How
went
you
down,
doing?
but you got to put a shout out to Tom C. He wrote a great limerick, and I think it's lost now.
Oh,
So
wait.
if you can find it,
No, no, no. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, thank you for telling me that. I just found it. As soon as you said a shout out for Tom
okay,
C, I
good.
started looking for Tom. Let's go ahead and do that
Okay,
limerick. You
good.
ready?
Read it. Okay.
All right,
I'm
here we
ready.
go.
Bye.
Peace. All right, let's go ahead. Tom Limerick is, first of all, let's give Tom Sarnick the kudos. He is our poet laureate. He's a poet laureate for Politics Done Right. And here it goes. Biden and Trump are having a televised debate to prove who's the best presidential candidate. Biden sets his second term sights on the economy and protecting human rights. Trump wants to make America great by replacing tolerance and freedom with revenge and hate. Will our states be united or divided and separate? Will our country continue to grow or just be third rate? It's up to us on election day to say yay or nay. Show that we care, fight for what's fair, and determine democracy's fate. Damn, that's good. Damn, that is good. That is, Tom, that is one of your best. That is one of your best. I love that one. Thank you, Tom. All right, what else have we got here? Shakula hairstylist is in the air, rather in the air. She says, Bill Maher sympathized with the J6 attackers. I think so. It's starting to seem that way. All right, Billy Allison Irwin says people do react differently to a young black man jogging through the neighborhood versus white. You know, it's interesting because I don't have to ask those things, right? I talk about it here when I moved to Kingwood, Texas, and started going into the trails, right? Let me see. I don't actually. I don't know if I put it. I think I put it in one of my first experiences here. I mean, let me tell you what is the most. If I didn't have thick skin, and I understand why it's the most hurtful thing for a lot of people of color, black people, Latino, etc. When you have somebody who tell a black person or a Latino person or a Asian person or a woman that this discrimination they're feeling is in their heads, and when you have an apologist like some of our minority right wingers that are there making excuses. I forgot her name right now. That she's in a blog. She hates feminism and all this sort of stuff. What makes it hurtful is that you're living it every day, and somebody who has never lived it constantly telling you it's in your mind, but then all the math behind the reality not only proves it's not in your mind, but it's there for all to see. You have to then ask if that person is either willfully ignorant or they themselves suffer from the prejudice and they use that as a facade to hide. Think about it. All right, Bree says weird, but a black man will still get more money than a woman. The worst you can be is a black, gay, disabled woman. And that's a statement of fact. That's a statement of fact. Black women have it harder than anyone else. And let me tell you something else. Black women work hard, right? And they had to put on a thick skin, and they had to put on an aggressive nature because society was that aggressive, and including with black men, right? People always wonder, why are black women so angry? First of all, they're not angry at all. Okay, they pissed off when things don't do when folks don't do as they should. But when they are used as the tool, you know, corporate America uses black women to kill two birds with one stone. Oh, if you're Bridge, I tell you better. You missed enough. You put on. You didn't add a Latino black woman, right? Because in that regards, they get to kill a whole lot of birds with one stone. There is so much intricacies to what we have allowed those who have created the institution of race to screw with us. And there are those who suffer from it at a much harder pace than others. So, Bridge, thank you for your insight on that one, but you're absolutely right. Carl Cox says, Egberto, your system is being processed by evil MAGA spirit. I hear you, brother. I hear you. ABQ, I see your post. YouTube is working, Twitch not. Okay. I'm scrolling down and I'm continuing. Let's see. Eric Hayes says, Egberto Williams, but you support Biden on what he has done in Israel. I hate what Biden has done in Israel. But again, if you listen to my show this morning, you understand why. Bruce Pollard said, are you on the net tonight after the debate? Yeah, I am doing, I am the one doing the KPFT after the debate show. We haven't planned anything, but we'll be on HD2 after the show. But of course, I'm going to be putting it on the net as well. So yeah, Bruce, I'll be there. And in fact, I'll be taking calls on the net for this as well. So I think I have it set up correctly to do that. I'm not sure. I got to calculate if that was done or not. Actually, I think you may have to call into the station for that. I haven't calculated all the ways that I'm doing it yet. All right. Billy Allison Erson says, Liz Cheney is friggin' tough. Pretty sure she could whoop me. I know. Liz Cheney, I don't like her politics, but I love her as a person. Yes. Yep. Tonight is the first presidential debate at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. All right. Let's see what else we got here. I'm scrolling down, replying to Bruce, Egberto Willis. Lee Grant, who wins the debate? I predict Trump will kick ass. No, actually, I know Trump will just self-destruct. But they already are paying people to go to those places, and I said likely paying. All right, you need to publish a short pamphlet of limericks. Yeah, I mean, he's good. He's that good. Let's see what else we got here. Scrolling down, guys. I'm scrolling down as quickly as I can. Peggy Lopez is in the house. How you doing, beautiful Peggy? It's only on in your mind comes directly from the patriarchy. The real enemy coming to the forefront again. Being there directing the show for decades. Thank you, sweetheart. You are absolutely right. And my sweetheart isn't the sexist one because I'll call my brother's sour heart. So please. All right, let's see. Michael Roy says, Egberto, YouTube live streaming later tonight. Yes, I am. I start at 8 o'clock. I'll be watching it at 8 o'clock as well. So yes, I'll be doing the live stream starting at 8 on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and everywhere else. Eric Hayes, Hidalgo fined $500 for ethic violations. Yep, I saw that. So $500 must not have been too serious. Anyhow, folks, it's 3:56. I got to get a little bit of downtime before I come back up at 8 o'clock tonight. But we'll be here at 8 o'clock tonight. I hope some of you will drop by and talk about it. We are also going to be connected to the studio, KPFT. So it's going to be a full thing, full gone. Let's see what else we got here. I want to ask you kindly to support the program as best you can. And how can you support our program? You can support our program by becoming one of several ways. First of all, you can go get the books that I just spoke with, one of the books that I just spoke about, but I'd like you to get all of them if you can. Go to politicsandright.com/books, politicsandright.com/books to get all of our books. Okay. You can also become a patron. We need to generate a few more patrons. Go to politicsandright.com/patron. Patron is spelled Patreon. Politicsandright.com/patron, spelled Patreon. But what I'm also asking folks to do is become paid subscribers of our newsletter. Our newsletter is subsidizing all our platforms, along with our Patreon, of course. Please consider becoming a subscriber of our newsletter by going to politicsandright.com/newsletter, politicsandright.com/newsletter, and it's a coffee a month. If you can do that, I need to get to over 1,000. So far, I picked up about 15 or so this week, 15. I think we're at 120 or so right now. But we need to get up to, I'd say for me to get some help, I need a minimum of about 1,500. So please consider becoming a supporter by logging in and to politicsandright.com/newsletter and becoming a paid subscriber. We have thousands of subscribers, but only 120 paid subscribers. We need a lot more. Again, that's politicsandright.com/newsletter. All right, it's 3:59 and I got to get out of here, do a little bit of video processing, and then get back onto the show at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. Of course, that is 6 o'clock Pacific and 7 o'clock Mountain. I am not a nonprofit. KPFT is a nonprofit. When you give to KPFT, it's a nonprofit. When you give to me, it's not a nonprofit. I want the liberty to be able to say as I please. I can't say as I please at KPFT as a nonprofit. I can say as I please here, not being a nonprofit. All right. All right, folks, I got to get out of Dodge. My name is Egberto Willis. Support the program at politicsandright.com/newsletter. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics and Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that